Hi there, this is David and welcome to our review of CrisTales for the PlayStation, PC, Xbox, and Switch consoles. I purchased this game new the day after it came out because I was pretty excited about it, and I ended up getting it for my Switch simply because it's my newest console and I like using it. I did play the demo back whenever that came out, and while I didn't exactly give it a glowing review, I was intrigued. The very first thing that you're going to notice is the loading times. And get used to this white loading screen with CrisTales running because you're going to be seeing it a lot. Every single time that you get into a random battle, there's loading. Every time you enter a room, loading. Whenever you leave a random battle, loading. Going to the world map, going to a town, going to a dungeon, all loading. And the loading isn't just like 3 seconds, it's like 15 seconds. It's just ridiculous and it really does add up. So I'm going to give this review in a different way than I normally do, because I'm going to tell you a story about my experience with the game, rather than give a strict, normal review. After I got through those initial loading times, I was thrust into a battle which utilizes timed attacks similar to Super Mario RPG. But let me tell you, you'd better have lightning fast reflexes because the game is designed around you always getting double attacks, and you always parrying the enemy attacks. This is not a game for the faint of heart, it's actually pretty hard. As you explore the town, you'll do some fetch quests and you'll talk to people, but one thing that you'll notice is CrisTales' voice acting is literally twice as loud as anybody else's. It's completely uneven, although it does get better as the game progresses on. Time hopping is introduced, which allows you to go back and forth to the past and to the future, and while this does seem cool at first, in all honesty, it's barely actually utilized. So after I left the first town, I went out to the quilt-looking weird-ass overworld map where I was told to save. So I did. Then I turned off the game, went downstairs, ate some dinner, came back up, and I loaded up my save. Only for it to not actually bring me back to my save point. It brought me back to a previous checkpoint instead. How in the world is saving of all things screwed up? They got it right back on the NES days. Why can't they get it right here? Anyway, after you get beyond where the demo ended, CrisTales changes her clothes, and then she actually looks worse because she loses her cute dress, and instead she just looks like some weird bobble-headed anorexic stick figure. But whatever, I was excited to move on with the game and enter the first real dungeon, the forest. It's here that the difficulty ramps up, because you only have the clothes on your back. And if you don't utilize the timed attacks and the blocking, you're gonna be completely screwed. I seriously barely survived this first dungeon because I only had the items that the game gave me, and I had no abilities to heal either. The viewpoint's unique. It's a side-scrolling view, but it's actually kind of hard to keep track of where you're going, and I really didn't want to get off the beaten track and go exploring because of all those loading times. And the ridiculous random encounter rate. It was just too much. And then to make matters worse, there's no mini-map. And back off, boys, don't come at me saying get good, because at this point a mini-map is pretty standard, and I survived the old days on the NES, SNES, and PlayStation 1 without them, but like, come on. It's 2021, get with the times. Once I finally got through the first dungeon, barely scraping by, I made it to the second town, which was actually rather jarring, because it's filled with cars and tires, and I thought that the setting was supposed to be medieval. But I digress. You go through and explore the town, which is honestly one of the only different looking places in the game. It was yellow, bright, and cheery, and all the other places that we've seen before was just kind of this dark blue, green, turquoise, aquamarine color scheme. So you leave the town, only go to a mountain zone, which looks exactly like the forest that you just came from. And it's here that everything just really becomes to go to a standstill. I mean, I felt like I was playing the game in slow motion. You'll climb up the mountain for about 10 seconds, get into a loading screen for 15 seconds, fight a battle for about 5 minutes, then get into another 15-second loading screen in order to leave the battle. And yeah, the random battles take roughly 5 minutes each. I mean, this one guy Wilhelm who joins you literally has to go through 4 different menus just to use one basic skill. Then you have to use your timed attacks and your timed blocks, and then everything registers one by one, and these enemies aren't dying in like 1 or 2 hits either. Most of them take like 8 or so physical hits to beat. and considering that pretty much every encounter is a pincer attack, it's all just a bit overwhelming. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, can an art style actually save a game? And the answer is no. The boss of the mountain literally took me 45 minutes to beat. I timed it. And I was trudging on through with no tents, no items, and again, barely surviving. Tents just cost far too much in this game. They cost 10,000 marbles, and by the time that I went through the forest and the mountain, I still only had about 9,500 marbles. For one stupid tent to cost more money than what I can gain over the course of 2 dungeons is just ridiculous. Anyway, I made it through that mountain, only to be thrust into the sewer. Now, look at this sewer. Does it look any different from the forest or the mountain or even the world map? No! What happened to this great, unique art style that's so wonderful? Everything looks the same. I wanted to like this game. Everything in me said that it would be great, that it would be like the new Chrono Trigger, that it'd just be fantastic, and if I just stuck with it, that it would get better. So, against my better judgment, I continued through the sewers, and I beat the boss. Then, when the place is flooding and about to get rescued from this dungeon, what happens? The game crashed on me. Yeah. This piece of shit game crashed on me. I cannot, under any circumstance, recommend this game for you to play. I wanted it to be great. I tried to like it. But y'all know me, and I'm nothing if not honest. And in all honesty, CrisTales is an unfinished, slow, boring, crashing, unbalanced piece of crap. Well, that's it for my review of CrisTales. How did you feel about the game? And do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and wanted to cheer on the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon, heading on over to Twitch for some streaming, or joining the Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them can be found in the video description. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.